Young people from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds are navigating complex identities and, at times, competing cultural expectations around sex and relationships. This video addresses cultural myths and information gaps, as talking about sex can be a taboo topic. It is important to provide information about the law and support access to reproductive and sexual health education so young people can negotiate healthy relationships and make safe and informed choices.
Okay, here we go. Myth. This is my partner or wife. Their body is mine. A relationship is when two people are connected to each other. Healthy relationships make the involved parties feel good about each other because there is respect, trust, and mutual safety, and they enjoy a mutually good sexual life. When these things don't happen and one person doesn't feel those things, that relationship is then unhealthy. What that can result is into abuse, which can be in the form of intimate partner violence, such as sexual abuse or even domestic violence.
Okay. It is part of my culture to act tough and not show weak emotions with your partner.
Ooh, that hits home. I've heard that. Yeah.
It's like, be tough and whatnot.
Yep.
Suck it up.
Yep.
It's sad. But for multicultural young people, actually, we need to be encouraged to negotiate terms and to talk about these things so that we can feel safe and trusted and respected within our relationships as well. Setting boundaries, negotiating relationships, and speaking up is not a sign of weakness. And I think that we need to feel free to express that, as young people. And it's our right to do that as well.
Myth. Silence means consent.
I actually hate hearing that. It
Me
really
too.
makes my blood boil.
And it's such a lazy way to think about it. Consent means giving permission for something to happen. It must be an explicit yes or an explicit no. In a relationship, before sex or intimate touching can happen, there must be consent, a yes every time. This is for married people and unmarried people, so regardless of what your relationship type is.
Yep.
Multicultural young people need to understand that just because somebody is dressed in a particular way, or they're dating you, agree to date you, that doesn't automatically mean that sex will happen. It's okay for a partner to say no, and we must respect that. Multicultural young people need to know the rules of sexual consent. So there's 3 rules. One is ask for consent always.
Listen for the answer.
Yep.
Or even looking at physical cues of body language. You can tell usually if someone's vibing with you or not. And then wait for a happy yes, or as I like to say, an enthusiastic yes. And making sure you're following those rules of consent.
And is that yes every time?
Yes, every
time.
single
Okay.
time. You have to have consent. It's okay to be in an unhealthy relationship because it is expected for a person to be forgiving and not air their issues to strangers in public.
Oh, I don't like that one.
Isn't that something that you've heard a lot?
All the time.
Yeah. It's something that don't bring shame on the family.
Yeah, yep.
Keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
And it's just sad because so many young multicultural people are conflicted when it comes to this topic because it's kind of you don't want to bring that shame on your family, but at the same time, you have the right to safety and being respected. Sex education is used to spread promiscuity and introduce bad thoughts in young people.
Oh, we'll definitely add that one, haven't we?
Okay. You should not be learning that. It's not right. Oh. But in fact, I actually think that this is, the perfect way for young people to learn about sex and get the right information on it. You'd rather have them learning in an environment which is safe and they can ask questions rather than, jumping on Google and, not knowing what kind of information is going to be coming out. So I actually think it's the perfect way for them to learn and it's better for them for their future.
Yeah. Myth, I am too ashamed of my problem or issue. I'll be seen and judged by others.
It's actually really sad.
That
So
one's
many
sad,
young
yeah.
people
Can't
like,
look at that one, yeah.
yeah, a lot of young people I think are affected by that.
Yeah. And if you are uncomfortable speaking with your GP or teachers, there are many family planning or sexual health clinics available.
Yep.
There are a bunch of websites where you can access the correct information, and the True website provides a link to the resources at true.org.au.
So the first myth that we have is the law is against our cultures from our home country. And the second one is the law is about Western culture.
Okay. From experience as a lawyer, I can say that that's not true. These laws are derived from global frameworks. So think of the United Nations. They recognise human rights. A lot of countries, actually most countries, sign up to those laws and actually have those laws in their own countries. So it's actually not true.
The third myth is the law favours women. I'm actually going to answer this one first. It's about having access to sexual health education, experiencing pleasure, and having reproductive autonomy, which is a basic human right. Because of this, people should be able to choose when and whom they have a sexual relationship with, and how many children that they want to have or when they want to become pregnant.
So I'm going to talk about the laws and rules that apply to sex and the law. Firstly, you've got to be aged 16 or over to give legal consent to having sex. You've got to be aged 18 or over to give legal consent to marry. In Queensland, abortion is legal, so you're allowed to do it. However, you should check the rules and laws in different states because they do differ. Sexting involving a person under 18 years of age is considered a crime and can be considered as child pornography or possessing child exploitation materials. Female genital mutilation or cutting is a crime in Australia, and it's illegal to remove a child from Australia for those purposes. Forced marriage is when a person gets married without freely and fully consenting, and it's illegal in Australia to cause a person to enter a forced marriage. But I'll just say this is not to be confused with entering into an arranged marriage as per your culture, as long as it's consensual, made from your free will, and the participants are of the correct age. Sexual assault and rape are a crime in Queensland and every other state. Yes, everybody needs to give consent every time, otherwise it is considered sexual assault. Everybody needs to understand what they're consenting to, so you cannot have sex with a person who's drunk or is under the influence of drugs. Service providers and the mandatory reporting requirements to all of these illegal acts that we're going to discuss. Firstly, having sex or sexually touching family members is called incest.
Having sex or sexually touching children is child abuse.
To have sex or sexually touching with support workers or teachers.
Have sex without consent. This is called sexual assault or rape.
And as I've already talked about, female genital mutilation in children.
The government and several not-for-profit organisations are ready to support partners who are escaping domestic violence. There are special visa categories for women so they can apply to get their own visa.